Today, we're going to dive into a little bit more of our sales conversation. We talked last week, week before, and the week before. I put some notes in the members area from a book called Instant Influence, another book called The Greatest Salesman in the World, and To Sell as Human. And I'd love any questions about any of those books, any insights that you might have had, and let's talk about sales numbers today and how we can move forward with kind of knowing if I want to have 5 new clients a month, I need to talk to 50 people or 20 people, and what that looks like as far as meeting people and follow up and all that good stuff. One of the things I loved in the book Instant Influence is the question process of, and that's what you were just talking about, Ian, so it's perfect. That question process to have more influence over other people. And step one, I'm gonna copy them and I'll put them in the chat so you can see them, because it makes so much sense. Good morning, Charlie. How are you?
I'm eating. I'm having brunch.
Nice. I'm gonna do that when we're done here. Um, so these are the steps with having more influence over other people. I put them in the chat for you if you want to save them. And they go along with kind of the coactive coaching model, that you're actually pulling the answers from your prospective client about, they're telling you how they can help you with this scenario, and it makes you more influential in their eyes, that curiosity factor, which I loved. And Ian was just mentioning that he asked somebody why, and why someone might change really is one of the most powerful questions we can ask. So let's catch up a little bit. Ian, tell us where you're at since we met with you last time. How are numbers going? How are sales going? And what kind of support do you need?
So I would say that sales numbers are okay. What does that mean? So I picked up a new client for assets under management, which was nice. Um, it was a long time coming. Like, we started in December,
Mm-hmm.
and I shared some things, and then stayed in touch and stayed in touch, and then I was getting ghosted, right? Like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I made a phone call, and it's, very, like, nonchalant. Okay, so we've been going on for a while, since December, and I've sent you a bunch of emails, and I know life gets busy, and I was just curious, are we going to take the next step or not? And either way, I'm good. Just let me know what works for you. So then I got a phone call back, and it's like, okay, I want to move forward. Okay, so.
Awesome.
And then one of my other clients has introduced me to 3 other clients, and we're doing, full planning. So we're in the beginning stages. So I'm actively working on 6 clients right now, which is
Mm-hmm.
good. Um, just keeping the pipeline full, though, is always a challenge, right? So how do I move through the funnel of, like, you trust you? And I think that for me, when a client recommends another client, it's the easy. I go right through I don't have to sell anything. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, what's the one thing that we need to get off your mind right now? And with these 3 clients, it's been student loans.
Mm.
So the forbearance or deferment is coming
Mm-hmm.
to an end at the end of this month. And many of these students or now doctors are going to be paying student loans for the first time since they've been out of school. And when you have significant amount of debt from school, the payment, the way it's set up, the way they give it to you, it could be as much as one paycheck. So if you're getting paid twice as much, that's like half your salary going
Yeah.
out the door to pay your student loan. So it's super scary. And I think what I've been able to give for them, well, the one lady doctor said, she feels safe, but I think the others are getting peace of mind. Like, no, it
Mm.
doesn't need to be, you know, it doesn't have to be as fearful as it looks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, the biggest challenge is how do I get my other clients to replicate themselves once during the year? Not like over and over again, just once, right? So I've started last week, really started last week, because I've been like really shy about asking, but now it's like, you know, keep me in mind for, anybody who's like you or
Mm-hmm.
people that you hear that are complaining about their student loans. Those are folks I want to talk to. So they're like, oh, I told, one person about you. And I need to train them into it. But since I just started asking,
Mm-hmm.
I would prefer if they got the permission from their friend to share their information with me.
Yes.
And then I get a chance to follow up with them. So I'm working on being more proactive with my existing clients because they are absolutely my best referral source.
So, just an idea, if you write something, whether it's an article or a little PDF or a blog post about exactly what you're talking about, send it to your existing clients and ask them to forward it. Feel free to forward this to anybody who might be concerned about their student loans coming up. And your contact information is in the article. That served me very well over the years. Um, say, for example, I'm thinking of an article I could send you about enhancing a practice owner's emotional intelligence that builds culture within their office. And I send that to you and say, forward this to any of your clients who own a practice and might be interested in reading this. It's great info.
right?
And it just has my contact information in it. So it's not like you're referring me, you're just exposing me to other people.
And I'm sure there's a piece that Guardian has, because everything's compliance oriented.
Right.
However, it's interesting because if I send it to one client and I ask them to forward, it really doesn't need to go through compliance. Like
Mm.
if I send it out to 25 people, then it does.
Yeah.
But if I'm sending it to one, I can write anything I want.
Hmm.
So I think I'll just put together an email. And as you know, I stay in touch with people, right? So
Yeah.
like my clients are on that same list.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no reason that I can't send them an email that says, okay, this is what I'm doing right now. It just seems to have come into focus. And since student loans are over the next couple of weeks becoming really prevalent, you know, this is something that I'm working on and send them a little information about, what's
Love it.
possible. Okay,
Okay.
that's awesome.
Yeah, and
Okay.
what you want to do, Ian, is um, not reference your company because that might get you in trouble with compliance, right?
Yeah,
If for example, somebody in your network sends it to somebody in their network, and it just so happens that that man's wife works in your company, and she sees that you're pushing something out there, pushing the company. I think what you're doing is you're sharing knowledge with people, you're sharing ideas with people. You're not recommending that they do business with you, you're educating them. a, a company, maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, went out and figured out why do buyers, what are the criteria buyers use to select a professional service provider? That's what you are. You're providing a professional service, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the number one reason they said they selected a particular vendor or individual, not company, but the individual, why they picked that individual is they educated me. So it goes back to what Suzanne's saying. If you can educate people around the sticky things that may be getting in their way of making a decision or causing them to hesitate, if you can identify what those are and you write individual pieces about those, you automatically send it out. If you know this
Yeah.
is a point of friction with these particular people, you educate them because they all want to make an informed decision. But if you're intent on educating them, when it gets time for them to pull the trigger, they will look upon you very favorably.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you may want to think about that. And then the second thing that they said they really liked was that the professional service provider collaborated with me. They didn't push something on me. They worked with me to come up with a solution that fit their particular requirements or needs, right? And then they felt they were buying something a little more customized or personalized to their situation, which elevates their interest in working with you, but also at the same time, it creates what I call the heart share. This guy cares about me. This guy's trying to do right by me. So just some suggestions to be able to
Yeah, I
do
think
that,
that's great suggestion.
to be able to.
So I was just got off the phone, was having a conversation, like a networking one-on-one thing. And I said, so what's been your experience with other financial advisors? And he's like, oh, well, my mom had an issue with a company. And so I went to a couple of people and some of them were good and some of them were bad. I'm like, okay, so what made someone good and what made someone bad? And the ones that were bad were told him that everything he had was wrong and that he should do this. And the ones that were good wanted to educate him and work with him and were collaborative. So it's interesting that you say that because that's exactly was the feedback that I got.
Right.
Do you guys feel that, and this may be just trash in my head, I'm curious, is my industry considered expensive or is it considered, I want to say expensive or like I need to have a certain amount of money to participate with somebody?
Yes.
Is that kind of the way people see it?
I think people of a certain income level believe that you have to be at a certain income level, which is much higher than they're at, to have someone like you. Good morning, Kyla. How are you?
Good morning. Sorry to just dive in right in the middle of it.
No, nothing like jumping in.
There's
I know, right?
apparently there's lots of room in the pool today for you, Kyla.
Yes.
Jump right in. Jump right in.
Right?
But to go back, Ian, to go back to your situation, an idea. When you're speaking to people, you say, "Hey, listen, I'm in the process of writing an article, so can I ask you a couple questions that may influence my article?" Said, "What is it?" I said, "What would be the top 3 criteria? What are the top 3 things that turn you off about financial advisors?" And then say, "What are the top 3 things that you find favorable or whatever?" And then they'll speak their mind, and they're not directing it to you. They're just giving you quality information. Now, after a month of doing this, you got a lot of great data that you can share, and maybe it's 2 or 3 posts on LinkedIn that people perceive you as being very, very, very knowledgeable about what's going on out there. So, and again, it's not anything that compliance would stop you with because you did a survey, an individual survey, and this is what I heard from the people, et cetera, right? And then when
only if I went to publish it is a problem. But most of it, they're pretty good with approving things as long as it's not investment advice specifically.
Exactly,
for
correct.
Sure. As
So
long as you're not guaranteeing anything, you can usually sneak by. You can't guarantee 25%, otherwise that's no.
Right.
No.
All right. So this sounds like an amazing action step for you. When do you think you would take action on this?
So I'm going to put together at least my reach out, stay in touch email about student loans like today and start doing that on my list. I haven't even done my list today. So absolutely for my clients, I'll be like, go ahead and share this. I guess I can do it to the other people as well.
Yeah,
This
why
is
not?
something I'm working on with my clients. I thought it was valuable information to
Mhm.
share. If you feel that it's, pertinent to somebody, feel free to forward it.
Well, and when it comes to student loans too, we kind of consider those people that are initially getting student loans. We're not considering those people that have been paying student loans for 15 years. So that topic is going to resonate with not only new people, but your
Mhm.
existing list.
That's a good point. I like that.
I was having a conversation. I don't remember who I had a conversation with, but I mentioned the student loans, and one of the attorneys, I was out to lunch, and one of the attorneys were like, "Oh my God, I've been paying my student loans forever," that kind of thing. I'm like, "Oh, well, that was interesting that it really struck a chord and, created a conversation." Okay, well, that's a full page of stuff to work on.
Awesome.
Student loans cannot be included in a personal bankruptcy. Is that correct, Ian?
That is correct.
Okay, good. So they got to pay them, man, and they're looking for answers. They're looking for people to help them navigate through that mess.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how you should position yourself. Are you drowning in student loan debt? Give me a call.
Do you need help navigating that mess?
There you go. Because the feeling is probably, having not gone through that, I just defaulted on them. I didn't pay them. But having gone through that, you're in this huge suck. You're being sucked down. It's holding you back, and people will relate to that.
The
And they'll say,
student
hey,
loan lifeguard over here.
there you go. I'll keep you from drowning.
Yeah.
An analogy like that. You do a little post with a picture of a lifeguard in it, and put
And a
it
pool
out there.
full of money.
Canva will help you do that.
Yeah.
So if, so that people begin to come to you because there's more than one way out of it.
Mm-hmm.
One way out of it is working with you. Another way out of it is a DIY type of approach that other people are using that you could share with people. And, and that builds your credibility when you're willing to share other methods other than your own.
Other methods other than your own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just become the knowledge broker at that point, and that's one of those things that builds so much trust.
They're eventually going to come back to the person that they know cared the most about them in the long run. Not the one with the cheapest fee, but the one that really cared about them, because money's emotional for most people.
Yeah.
And Ian, I'm not sure what kind of financial advisor you are, like whether you can take fees or not, but that's another red flag for some people is they're like, it's going to be so expensive to go meet with a financial advisor. They don't understand that a lot of financial advisors, especially if they're coming from the annuity side or something, or life insurance side, they're based on commissions. They're not based on you come in and you pay me $500 to put together. I know that's a really cheap fee. This is just an example, but they don't understand that you don't come in and you have to pay them something up front to start investing. Instead, it's all just commission based. And until you're in front of them, sometimes they don't understand that. So I might be speaking out of turn, but that's what comes to mind for me when I think of a financial advisor. And the only reason I know that is because I worked in a financial advisor's office for almost 10 years. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, okay, I would have just assumed it's going to cost me to even discuss this.
Is your model AUM? Assets under management?
I do like to charge a fee for planning. I like to keep it at least to $1,200. So $100 a month for 12 months, and then it's done. Then by that time we would have done assets under management. We probably would have done disability insurance and life insurance, long-term care, all of it, and a savings plan. So now you're a client, and we're just maintenance after that, doing things on an ongoing basis. So I don't charge people ongoing fees forever. Some people do. I don't see the need for that necessarily. But I do like to get paid for my advice because I don't want to feel like I need to sell you a product to get paid.
Mm.
So it's kind of helps with the collaborative process.
Write that down.
Yeah,
That's
for sure.
that. I mean, that made both of us say, "Ooh, yeah, that to a
And
small
it just
business
shows that,
owner."
yeah, it shows that skin in a game,
Yeah.
skin in the game concept instead of. So yeah, that's interesting.
See, Ian, say it again so you don't forget. Say it again.
I don't want to feel like I have to sell you a product for me to get paid.
Right. And that was the decision of why you went into this line, this niche within that financial services field, right? Because you personally don't like to be sold, right?
Right.
Okay. So that's the idea, is that I wanted to, my values align with the way I like to do business,
Yeah.
that kind of a thing. Then that tells people, hey, this guy's given us a lot of thought. He didn't go to a place that's going to pay him the most commission in the shortest period of time. You're in it for the long haul. They are. You should be too. So
Yeah, to me that is an extra layer of assurance that I'm getting legitimate advice and not just a push to buy the product that's going to give you the biggest commission.
amen.
Nice.
I didn't know when I said that to people that it resonated like that. So I really appreciate the feedback because typically I don't say it to clients. Like I'll say it in a networking event, but I don't necessarily say it to them. Sometimes if I go, oh, this is, listen, I charge a fee for planning, and they're like, like almost aghast. Even
Well, how many
what?
clients do you have right now?
I would say like 40.
All right, so you can go to each of them and have hey, I'm just checking in, how you doing, so and so. Can I ask you a question? I'm always trying to get better. I'm trying to help more people. I want to share something with you. I'd love some feedback on whether that resonates with you or not, because I want more clients like you. So if it resonates with them, then chances are it resonates with people like them. And it's an indirect way of getting them to think about, I wonder who I could refer to Ian, because I want to work with people like you, is what you're saying. And then they can give you feedback. Because again, and that's why groups like this, Ian, that Suzanne's put together, gives you an opportunity to have a forum where people can give you feedback, because everybody here is a buyer, right? They've all made purchases. They all have relationships already. And you're not interested in my business or Kyler's business. You're interested in the people we know that is looking for somebody like yourself.
I find that my best clients are the ones who have paid a fee. Those are the ones who valued what I was going to help them with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of divide people up a little bit between customers and clients, right? So customers came along and they bought a product from me. And the clients are the ones who call me for, I'm leaving my job, I'm getting a new job, right? I want to get a house. I want to talk about my car. What am I doing about savings? All of, everything after that.
You're the answer man.
I'm the answer man. It's amazing, actually, how many life experiences I'm experiencing that aren't necessarily my own. It is. I have one client who's selling his business. There's 5 of them, and they're selling brothers and cousins for many millions of dollars right now. And he would end up, I haven't told him this, I'm not going to tell him this, but he would end up being my wealthiest client. And he calls me now almost every day. They're in the process. I'm nervous. Am I going to be okay? Is it all going to be like, what is it going to look like? How am I going to get health insurance? Like all of the things that you would think that somebody with many millions of dollars at some point in the future wouldn't worry about. He was worrying more than my clients who are, a million or less, or 100,000 or less. So amazing that just amazing where people are at when it comes to money. Just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean that you're comfortable or not fearful.
Yeah, well, he's experienced his anxiety about the future. So my question to you is, my ears perked up when he said healthcare insurance, right? So you're not an expert in that, I assume.
No.
Okay. So who did you refer to him to talk to alleviate that concern? Because remember, you want him to go through with the deal, right? And if he's got a lot of questions, he may not do it. So what other person in your network is the right person to speak to him about what his options are relative to healthcare insurance after the fact?
Are you asking me specifically?
Yeah,
I do have I have a
Go ahead.
lady. There's a lady I know who's a healthcare broker. So as an individual, you're not going to buy healthcare through a healthcare broker, but she'll be able to guide him and give him the most confidence around that.
Yeah.
Thank God for right now. I mean, the advice is to go to Savoy or go to healthcare.gov, or actually he's in New Jersey. So through the state of New Jersey first, see what they're offering, and then go, through the New Jersey state process.
Right.
So, but he is considering going into business, another business. And if he does that, then he may be able to do group plans. So there's still some there's still some questions that need to be answered because, he hasn't gotten to that point yet, but we will. Absolutely. Yeah. So the advice would be, here's somebody who does this every day. This is her specialty.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll have a group call. Oh, I'm very big on collaborative. So at some point, we will have a meeting between me, the accountant, and the lawyer and the client all together. Not like, talk to me, talk to this one, and then the client's trying to tell me what everybody else says. That's not going to be the case. And he knows that I'm already talking to all of them, and we're working out a plan for him to be as efficient as possible. And then we're going to share it as a cohesive, because otherwise, what I find is that people tend to pull their hair out because everybody's telling them something else, and then they're left to make their own decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I do like the collaborative approach. I love it even more when I get to put the people in the seats. It's because then I know them and I call them. I'm like, hey, what are you doing?
That's a value add that I let clients know about often. And this is something for Kyla as well. You should let clients know that you've spent years developing strategic relationships, collaborative relationships, value-driven relationships, so that when a client works with me and I'm their life coach or I'm their life coach and business consultant, they know that I have these people in back of me. It's like having a board of directors, and I can tap into those people whenever I need to. Whether it's a referral, one of my clients wanted an online store, and he wanted a very specific thing. And we talked about this very specific thing. He wanted products with his logo and his sayings, and he wanted sweatshirts, he wanted mugs, he wanted water bottles, but I don't want to touch any of the products. Is that possible? And I said, oh my gosh, yes, I know somebody who does that, and she will not only set up the store for you, but set up the whole back end fulfillment service, and you'll get a check at the end of the month for whatever sells. And he was like, done, just do it. Can you set it up? And I set up a 3-way conversation. My client didn't even talk because he knew I knew the words to use to describe what he wanted. And it was literally a done deal for this referral. So referrals like that, where you can just, my people, right? It's such a value add. And I started telling people I had that.
Right.
So I picked up a few different things, Ian, when you were, sorry, I made notes for myself so I wouldn't forget because it's Friday and it's been a long week.
It's you.
And it's me. Suzanne knows I always have a notebook somewhere around. I'm always writing.
Currently writing.
Right. So what I absolutely loved and what you said, Ian, was you are creating that know, like, and trust factor, which everyone needs, especially when it comes to dealing with someone that is going to deal with their money or make money decisions for them. Just like you were saying, this gentleman calls you on a daily basis. He now considers you a friend, but a friend that's also an expert. And what's even cooler about that is if he's leaning on you that hard, he has 4 other people in this business transaction that he's probably saying, if you don't have a guy, you need to call my buddy Ian. Like, he has had my back through this whole thing.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned about health insurance and not necessarily, I like kind of how Charlie said it, but not necessarily an expert in health insurance and having someone to go to, which is going to lead me to the next part too. But most people don't know that when you get your life insurance license to sell, you also have to go through the health side. I don't know if that's the same in New Jersey, but it is here in Idaho. So you do already have that expertise. It might not be the current how to find it, but you are knowledgeable enough to have that conversation with them because you are technically a health insurance. You are licensed in health insurance, which led me to collaborative. You just set yourself apart from any financial advisor I've ever met. They are very quick to pass off a lead and wait for some kind of a kickback, but not if they're not going to get a kickback, they're not in there holding hands and being collaborative within the group. It's like, oh, hey, Suzanne, I have this guy I want you to talk to, or this lady I want you to talk to about health insurance. Done. Or did you get a chance to talk to them because they're getting a kickback? So the fact that you are collaborative, I think, is a huge step forward for you in that industry, especially with where you're located, because it's so easy to think about where you're going to make the money, not necessarily how you're going to grow that relationship. So if he has this huge business, he's now going to be your biggest client. That means he's going to have future investments. So why not? Because that is a lot of moving pieces and parts. You know, you have property and casualty insurance, you have health insurance. They might be dealing with some kind of mortgage stuff. And then you have the annuities, or I don't know what you're in, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, all of that. But if they're coming into that kind of money, they also probably need an attorney or a will or any of that. And you are the one go-to guy that this man is saying, I love Ian. He has my back and I'm going to trust him in every decision, but I'm also going to tell all of my friends about him.
Ian,
So, oh, I don't know if I've read it. I had it.
it's been dying. It's been around for 20 plus years, and,
Yeah.
he's been waiting for you.
He has been waiting for you.
So
I'll download it.
I go back to this thing about the words we use to describe ourselves, right? So myself, sometimes I'm coaching, sometimes I'm consulting, sometimes I'm advising, sometimes I'm teaching, sometimes I'm offering contrarian advice. So we all have various roles that we play depending on the situation with a particular client. But this one, the advisor, is a much higher level way to describe ourselves. So Suzanne is, you know, let me just share a perception. I don't know how you all feel about it, but, you know, it's been accelerated in the pandemic. Everybody's a coach. Everybody's a consultant. Everybody has all the answers to everything except COVID. And that cheapens us when we use the same term because everybody's doing it. Oh, I met a coach. I mean, I just had a piece of business deferred because this guy has never had a coach before, and all of his friends say, you don't need a coach. You're so smart, you don't need a coach, right? So he saw me as a coach. My fault, my bad, right?
Yeah.
When in reality, he needs a thinking partner. He needs an advisor. Because his problem is multifaceted. So we have to come up with terminology that distinguishes us from other people. Even though the client ends up purchasing a product that fits in a certain category, they have to perceive us as being different. And I don't know what that would look like for you or what it would look like for Kyla, but this thing I have next to me says what's next. And for the last 2 years, when I meet people for the first time, and well, I'm trying to figure out what's next, or I'm trying to figure out what new niche I should go into, what new product I should get, and I'm nodding, and this big thick skull is not saying, wait a minute, these people are telling you they want help in figuring out what's next. I do, because I had another agenda, right? So if we really, really hear what they're saying, not listen to them, but hear what they're saying, suddenly we realize, wait a minute, I have a capability to address that particular need. So I'm going to run with this for a month and see what happens. But so far, the reception to it's been pretty good. And this morning, I bounced it off a bunch of clients, and they really said, that's you. Yep, that's you.
I like it. I like it.
Because before I had the human archaeologist. That's great. That's cool. Hey, what's that? But who buys human archaeology? Nobody, right? But it's a role that I play. It's a methodology I use to help people get inside themselves and figure out what they've been missing, or where their superpowers are, or where that hidden potential is that they haven't tapped into, right? That's wonderful. But their overriding question is, what's next? What's next? And my job is to help them figure out what that is and how to get there and how the hell to keep it, not lose it, right? So anyway, that's my point. Ian.
I love the what's next, because it's one of the questions that your ideal client is asking. It's their 3 a.m. wake up thing, right? They're waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning saying, oh my God, what am I going to do next?
No, I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to take a pee. I don't.
Yeah, me too.
So it's interesting about the what's next, because I've been asked, so entrepreneurs don't retire. They just move on to whatever next.
That's correct.
And then somebody said, I don't remember who it was, said to me that retirement is an old-fashioned word. And it is an old-fashioned word, because nobody retires today, not in the traditional sense. And really what we're doing is, how do we move on to whatever next? And I think that becomes super important. And then Kyla said before about my client sharing it with others. So I was in a conversation with him yesterday, and he mentioned his one brother and 2 cousins. He's like, they need to talk to you, right? And he's like, I've already in conversation with them. So so the force is very strong with you, Kyla. You know? And Suzanne, earlier, like one of the first sentences you mentioned was something about the curiosity factor. So when I started my very first business, that was the name of the business.
Really?
Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting.
Oh, that's cool. One of my really good friends that I met through a coaching program years ago, his name is Martin Lopez. He lives out in California. He wrote a book called The Curiosity Theory. And it's a whole framework for, well, not only using in your coaching practice, but he wrote the book as a formula for breaking down miscommunications between men and women, or leaders and their teams, or anyone that you're trying to communicate with on a more effective basis, and you're clashing with, by bringing curiosity to it instead of fighting for right. It's such a good book. Happy to make that introduction if you want.
What's his last name?
Lopez.
Okay.
And it's spelled Martin, but you say it Martine.
Okay.
And it's called The Curiosity
Theory.
Theory.
Yep.
Got it. So Ian, I want to circle back to you. I want you to imagine something. We were talking about your resources that are at your disposal to help your clients, correct?
Yes.
And you just said most of them are wondering what's next. There's a guy on this call that you may want to introduce to some of those people for an hour conversation, no sales at all. It's just to talk to them. And I'm doing you a favor by talking to them. I'm
Yep.
a resource that is available to you so that I can try to get them to reveal what their concerns are, their anxieties are, and to try to give them a little bit more clarity that it may not be as overwhelming and debilitating as they may think. Because I'm of the belief that research says that if people, quote, retire, no matter what age, and there's no purpose left in their lives, they die very quickly. So people that are firemen, people that are police, from the police force, they usually retire early and they have a big pension. They die early, unless they do something else of meaning and purpose, right? So my point is, when I'm talking to people who are 50 and older, I'll say to them, Ian, what are you going to do in retirement? Oh, Charlie, I got it locked down. I got my number. We're going to travel. We're going to play golf. We're going to do this. Great. That's wonderful. Now, what are you going to do month 4? And they all laugh and they go, oh, ha, ha. No, seriously.
Seriously.
You're going to be 64 years old when you retire, and you're going to live probably to 85 or longer, depending on your health. So what are you doing during those 20 years? That's a terrible life to waste. What are you going to do with your knowledge, your experience, your network, your ability to help other people? Because see, you work for a chemical company that polluted. You made a great living, but what do you want to do to leave a legacy? Oh my God, yeah, you got to get them thinking like that, so that they realize, wait a minute, there's something else out there I may want to do. Because sooner or later they'll figure it out. And being a greeter at Walmart, there's only so many of those jobs available in every town. So, and they don't have to do it for free. So you helping them create a vision of the future for themselves, you're in like Flint, man. You're in. They're going to say, wow, this guy really is looking out for my best interest. He isn't just getting my money under management. This guy's really concerned about my quality of life, what I'm trying to do, the big picture, right? And you're advising them. They're not telling you what to do. You're bringing people in that they need to talk to. Anyway.
Yeah, I love that. I can take that, what you just said, Charlie, and apply it to myself too, right? It's really about, I don't even know what to say. I'm kind of speechless, because I think we could all take that as something that, to realize you have those people to add value to your people is, I feel like that's my reason for having a community. That's my reason for doing what I do. And I know that most of the people here feel that same way. So how do we take that and expand it? You know, 4 turns into 8, 8 turns into 16.
Well, you've created a community here where you're the hub of the wheel, and you're like the router in a network technology system, and you know everybody, and you know what they're capable of doing. And part of your value is the fact that, hey, Charlie, you and Kyla should get together, because I think there's some synergy there. You two could be very complementary, et cetera, to help each other. And who knows, I may take her in a new market. She may take me into a new market. Who knows? But that's what it's all about. We're helping one another.
Yeah. Well, what do you need help with, Kyla? Where are you at?
She's in Idaho.
I know that.
I love it. Charlie pays attention.
He does. He does.
So Ian, I didn't shut off my camera because you were talking to me. I dumped coffee on myself. So I appreciate you acknowledging what I said. I don't know. So business is in pivot right now. I think Suzanne knows that just a little bit. I am a servicing agency, but I want my focus to fully be on creating systems for business owners. whether that's their client relations management or membership or just texting and messaging or newsletters. Or, I feel like I tried to go the financial advisor niche a few times. Just because I know it, and so I keep going back to my comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
But really, like, my main focus, I just want it to be on systems and getting people back into their business, doing the things that they love instead of those tedious tasks in the back end. So I'm currently reworking all of my offerings, I guess. I really want to go in and focus on, you just had a hummingbird over your shoulder.
Did I?
Yeah, over your right.
Oh, amazing.
And sorry,
That's okay.
squirrel, actually hummingbird. And so I'm going to really be focusing on VIP days because people just don't want to wait a week or a month to get their systems in order within their business. So that's just kind of the direction that I'm headed right now. But as far as help, I don't know what I need. I need my time with Suzanne. That's what I need.
Well, let's get it back on the calendar.
Yes.
I will send you an email, and I'll send it to all of you if you want it. My mastermind group meets on Wednesday, and we talked about the last quarter this year, and I'll share with you. I've put together it's a business plan, but I call it a prosperity plan. And it's basically 3 blank pieces of paper. And the first page is your overarching, plan for your business. And, that's the thing that you could tweak it, but it very rarely changes. Like your values, your vision, your mission, your big overarching goal. And that first page doesn't change that much. It might get updated, but it doesn't change that much. Second page is your quarterly plan. And that's what is the big thing you want to accomplish this quarter, all the tasks that go with that big thing. Now, entrepreneurs like Kyla and myself will probably have 3 things per quarter or more, but I want to say limiting it to 1 a month or 3 per quarter is really the max that you can do with big projects, like a launch, like a podcast, like a new sales page, like that type of big thing. And then all the tasks that are involved with that quarterly goal. Who's going to do each of those tasks? So who's going to write my copy? Who's going to do the images? Who's going to do it? And you write all that down on this page. Every quarter you do this. And then your daily plan. And this is what's really fascinating about the daily plan. It can be anything you want that's going to move your business forward towards that quarterly goal. And for me, that's my personal habits, because I know when I'm working remotely, when I am exercising, when I am eating correctly, when I am sleeping well, my daily tasks fly by. I don't avoid, I get it done. And so knowing my daily numbers, talk to 5 new people, connect with 5 old people, nurture 5 potential clients. If I get that done, I can go have fun. So I'll send you that email if you want. And the book that this comes from, if I have the notes on the book, I'll send it to you. It's called The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur by Mike Michalowicz. He's a Profit First guy.
He's local. He's in outside of Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah, he might be close to me right now.
That's right.
And one of the things I loved about the book is a toilet paper entrepreneur is somebody who knows how to get shit done with 3 pieces of toilet paper. That's his analogy. If you know how to get shit done with 3 pieces of paper, you can move mountains in your business. And I loved the frickin' simplicity of that. It
Is
doesn't have to be.
is that single ply or triple ply?
I don't know. I guess it all depends on what's the poop scale
There
called.
you go.
You
There
know?
you go. No, I think it's wonderful. He's a bright guy.
Yeah, I resonate with his simplicity, but it's also lots of action taking. You know, keeping a daily plan. I have my notebook open in front of me, and there's 3 things each day. There's 3 people each day. So yeah, let's look at that. I'll send that to all 3 of you if you want to read what I wrote up, and if I have the notes on that book, I'll send them to you as well.
I'm gonna send Ian a book summary of that book I showed you, The Trusted Advisor. If any of you else want it, let me know.
Yeah, please.
Because everybody's in the community site, right? So
Yeah,
I can get
yeah,
your
you
email there.
can. Let me show you how to do that because there's been an update in the community. And let me share my screen and I will show you how to do that.
Am I now a premium member?
Yes, everybody that's in there right now, you can post anytime you want. You can also, if you would like to share events, you can do that on the events tab. I have to turn it on for you, so let me know if you have an event to share and I'll turn it on and you can post that. When you share an event, an email goes out to all the members inviting them to that event. Just make sure you have your Zoom link all set up and I'll turn that on for you guys if you want. So our newsletter, our Growth Intentions newsletter, here's the 2 books that we were talking about today, that we've been talking about for the last 2 weeks. And if you just click on those, it's under newsletter and the first post. These are PDF book summaries. So Charlie, if you want to pop in here and when you click on the thread, you'll just attach the book summary right here.
Right.
And I have some video book summaries. You can attach those by embedding a video, like a YouTube video or anything like that with
Good.
that little tab.
Good. Hey, Suzanne, just so I can bookmark it, what's the URL for this?
Oh, it's community.idealab4entrepreneurs.com. What you're looking at right here is the app that you can download if you have a Mac computer. You can download an application for your computer and it will all be in there.
Is it the Heartbeat? Is that
Yes.
what it is? Heartbeat app?
Heartbeat.
Okay. Okay, good.
The first course is Goal Setting Bootcamp. And I just started loading the content. It's 4 video lessons and workbooks. And that'll be ready probably by the end of next week.
Cool.
And that'll be free for all of you guys. Anybody you refer to it, there will be a charge. But anybody who's in the community, it'll be free.
Okay, good.
All right. Well,
Love
thanks for
that.
joining today. I hope it was helpful. Ian, I hope you don't feel too ganged up on. We loved you
I
a
was
lot
in the
today.
hot seat.
We loved you a lot today. You didn't ask for it, but you got it anyway.
Got it. Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Of course.